Okay, students, today we're going to be doing multi-step equations, solving them with the variable on one side. Last class, we talked about solving one and two-step equations. So multi-step is very similar, just we're going to have a couple extra steps, like 3 to 4. Our essential question today is going to be, what's the process of solving an equation with the variable on one side of the equation? To start off, we're going to talk about two special cases. So the first thing that we need to do, we're going to draw our line to split the left and the right side of the equation. Our goal, as we talked about last time, is to get the variable by itself. In this case, it's the letter K. So the first thing we do is going to add 10 to both sides. Over here we have negative 10 plus 10 equals 0, and we don't write the number 0, so they're gone. And over here we want you guys to write all your steps in words. So we added 10 to both sides to get 0. So on the left, all I'm left with is 3 over 8k equals negative 4 plus 10 is 6. Okay, and so this is why it's a special case. We're going to do it in a way so that you don't have to use the calculator. We need to first get rid of the denominator of our fraction. In this case, it's the 8. So 8 is doing the dividing, so to undo dividing, or the inverse of dividing, is going to be to multiply both sides by 8. Okay, so the 8's cancel out, but I still have that negative 3k on the left. 6 times 8 is 40. Sorry, not 40. 48. So our second step was multiply, I'm going to abbreviate right here, 8 to both sides. Okay, and then our last step, now we just have this negative 3 times k. To undo multiplying by negative 3, we're going to divide both sides by negative 3. So negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. But again, like we talked about last time, we don't really write the 1, so we can just put k equals negative 16 is 48 divided by negative 3. Our last step was divide negative 3 to both sides. Okay, so that is our answer. So as you can see, it's very similar to what we did last class. We just have an extra step or two. All right, another special case. Here we have 3 times k minus 7. That whole thing is divided by 5. It equals 0. The letter we're solving for again is k. Okay, so some of you might be tempted to add 7 to both sides right off the bat. But notice that the 5 on the bottom, on the denominator, is dividing both terms on the top. So we actually need to get rid of the 5 before we can touch the top at all. So to get rid of the 5, remember, just like the one before, the 8, the 5 is being divided. So to undo dividing, we multiply the 5 to both sides. 5 divided by 5 right here cancels out to 1. Step 1, we multiplied both sides, or let's see, we multiply 5 on both sides. Okay, so now we're left with 3k minus 7 equals 80. 80 came from 16 and 5. Okay, now we can solve. This is like what we did the other day, our two-step equations. The first thing we do is we're going to add 7 to both sides. Add 7 on both sides. Okay, over here we have the 3k that comes down. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0, so they're gone, and that equals 80 plus 7 is 87. And then our last step is to get rid of this 3 times k, so I divide both sides by 3, since dividing is the opposite of multiplying. 3 divided by 3 is 1k, or just k, equals 87 divided by 3 is 29. So k equals 29 is our answer. And then over here, we'll go ahead and write our third step. Our third step, we divided 3 on both sides. Okay. All right, so those were special cases on how to treat the fractions. Students tend to see those and freak out, but they're not too bad. All right, last one. We have the following equation, and this time we're solving for the letter A. Wrong one. Okay. And this was a typo. This should have been a lowercase a, but it's the same thing. So we're going to treat them as a's. Okay, our first step is we're going to distribute. Let me use a different color. This 3 first has to be distributed inside to the parentheses. Okay, so I have 3 times 3a is 9a. 3 times a negative 6 is a negative 18. Plus 3a. Remember, this 3a is not affected by the 3 that we distributed. Equals 18. So step 1, we distribute 3 to both sides. Okay. Now, before we can move on, we're going to see if we have any like terms. And as you can see, we have a 9a here and a positive 3a here. So before we go any further, we want to combine those to have 1a. So I have 9a plus 3a gives me 12a minus 18 equals 18. So our second step was combine like terms. Okay, now we have our two-step equation like what you did last year. So our next step would be to add both 18 to both sides. The 12a comes down, negative 18 plus 18 is 0, so we don't write anything there. Equals 18 plus 18 is 36. Okay, so our third step was add 18 to both sides. And then our last step, we divide both sides by 12. So over here, we get a equals 3, because 12 divided by 12 is 1a, or just a, and 36 divided by 12 is 3. So our fourth step was divide 12 to both sides. Okay, and that's all. Now you're going to take some time to write any questions that you had on the left margin about any of these 3 problems and a summary about today's lesson.